everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of My Spooky Studio. I'm so excited for you guys to meet and talk about and talk to and interact with. You can ask questions at any time. Our guest this week. But before we begin, I do want to make a note about something that I said last week regarding fan films. I understand that fan films are of kind of studio work, but they're also independent iterations on studio work by a lot of independent companies. And upon talking to a lot of people, I do think they are okay to promote and do. So go forth and conquer your fan films. But without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our guest this week. He is my friend. He is Lee Howard. He's an artist and content creator. You might have seen him across social media, especially on TikTok as Lee Howard Art or Quiet Room Bears. You might have seen him even at conventions with these creepy little bears. Look at this little guy. Isn't he so cute? And you know what? They're so soft too, which is kind of deceiving. You're like, I want to touch them, but they also give me nightmares. He's done a ton of crossover works with creepy things. He's done, fast food icons. He's done horror icons. He's done Mario. He's just a bunch. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should, and you should definitely check him out. He's amassed over 1 million followers on each account, but 3 million followers in total, over 2 million on his Quiet Room Bears page, and 1 million on Lee Howard Art. Please welcome Lee Howard. Oh, hi there, Lee.
Hello, friend.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
What an exciting time.
I know. I'm so happy to be here.
I am happy to have you. I think you've seen that Cecil from the horror show wants to have you on his show.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's always crazy when people are like, oh, I really want to like reach out and maybe he'll be on my podcast. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just an idiot who lives in Canada. Could reach out. I'm nobody.
You get a lot of requests from people?
Here and there I do. Yeah. It's funny. My brain just died. Rebooting. Here we go. I got like iffy with doing a podcast because like a while back someone wanted to have me on, and then I was like, give me a link to your show or whatever, and let me like look at it because I just want to see what kind of show it is. And it was like a very how do I say this in a nice way? Their views on the world don't quite line up with mine in an extreme way that are maybe more
I hear
right.
What you're saying.
Anyway, yeah, you got it. And it's just like, ooh, I don't want to. No, thank you. Now it's like I'm totally open to do anybody's podcast as long as they're cool and nice and accepting of everybody.
Well, I like to think that you're on this show because I am.
Yes. We've been friends for so long.
We have. I actually did not take the time to look up how long we've known each other. It's got to be like a decade.
It's I think a little, maybe even more than a decade. And I'm trying to remember if it's because, I've made a lot of like Facebooky friends because of, Mark Patton, name drop.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, honestly, I have made a lot of friends, like our friend Jim, who's in the comments.
Hi, Jim.
We love Jim. So it's like I don't know if maybe I met you through him being Facebook friends, but it's at least a decade, which is bananas.
Yeah, that's crazy because I just can't think. I mean, I get those memories every so often of when it's like, yeah, you've been friends with somebody. It's 12 years, and I'm like, what the? I was still in high school. That's just crazy to me to think like all these years and everything that's happened. We've all seen each other's lives and seen each other grow up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In one way or another. It's wild. But I do have some questions for you because I don't know. I mean, we've talked about our love of Nightmare. We've talked about, just random gobbledygook fun things, but I don't know if I've ever really asked you about
Mm.
your art. Like how old were you when you started, kind of, was it drawing or sculpting? And, what inspired you to get into it? Was it just like doodles on a notebook, or was it something else?
Yeah, I mean, I've always art is like the only subject I ever got, 100% in in school. Like I'm terrible at math, I'm terrible at the other subjects. But art was always my my thing. Like that's the one thing I knew how to do. And yeah, and it's like I was super not popular in, like grade school and then for most of high school. But it's like everyone knew that I could do art, you know? It was always that kind of saving thing for me. So yeah, I've always done it, and it was always just drawing mostly. Um and it wasn't until a little bit later in life that I got more into painting. And then in 20 or sorry 2001 is when I started making the Quiet Room Bears. So branching out like artistically with what I do, but art has always just been a thing that I've loved to do, and especially like I always love monsters and stuff. So a lot of my art was always horror-ish, there was I don't know if there was this Canadian show that was made, and I know it played in some states, called The Hilarious House of Frightenstein. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
So Vincent Price was on it, but he recorded it like
Ooh.
he went in for like 1 week and just recorded like a million things. He just does the intro and the outro and kind of introduces each character. And it was a kids show. It was like a little kids show, and it was mostly this one dude named Billy Van, Canadian, and he played almost every character. And there was like a wolf man, and there was like this old librarian, and he played like this old witch. Love it, love it, love it. And it was like a comedy skit show, and it was almost all improvised. And I loved that show as a kid. There was like a Frankenstein, and so it's just I always kind of like loved monsters and scary things, even from such a small age. So yeah, I think that always kind of leaked into my art as well.
That's so cool. Did you have like a favorite artist? Is there somebody that was like a painter or something that, you would look at their art and you'd be like, "Oh, I love that. That's like such a huge inspiration to me." Or were you just kind of inspired by everything and there was not like one person in
Um,
particular?
Well, I mean, I loved like comic books growing up. Again, nerd. And now it's like so cool to love comic books.
Oh,
Um,
everybody's just thinks that they're a nerd now, and it's so awesome.
yeah. And it's like, hey, if you're just discovering comics and stuff now, amazing. I'm very happy for that. But it's like I was born in this darkness. But um I legit forgot what was the question. I forgot already.
That you love comics, and those were kind of the
Oh,
artists. I
artist,
was
sorry,
asked.
thank you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I got back on track. Probably, like, oh gosh, what's his name now? Matthew Peak, the guy who did the Elm
Oh,
Street.
yeah, yeah.
Oh god, I love his art. And Drew Struzan, the famous poster artist, was probably like my top tier, even as a kid. Where it's like I didn't think that people could get jobs as artists, because art was just something I would do just for fun. So I would just always look at, like, I would have posters like the Goonies poster and stuff, and just like look at his artwork, and oh my god, like to this day, I mean, Drew Struzan is the man.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I definitely know what you're talking about with that. So then from there, did you think that you would eventually want to become a full-time artist? Or were you like, there's no way that I could possibly make a living off of my art? Or was that
Um,
like a goal?
yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like a movie makeup guy, artist when I grew
Hmm.
up. I would always, when Halloween would roll around when I was a kid, buy all the totally crappy. I was gonna swear. Can we? If I swear,
Yeah,
is that
go ahead.
okay? Oh, okay. I
Swear.
just want to make sure. because it slips away sometimes. But yeah, I buy like just like yeah the shitty drugstore Halloween makeup and stuff, and like I love playing with like liquid latex and making like burns on my face and stuff. So I was like, maybe I'll be a movie makeup guy. But I never really, I don't know. It's like, I think it was like my stepmom when I was very little was like, and I don't remember why she said this, but I feel like I remember her saying like, art isn't a job, and it's like I come from a family where they were like not discouraging, but it was more like just go get a stable job and then work that until you're dead. The end. That's life. Um, and but I always wanted to do art, and like I see in my Facebook memories that are from like 14 years ago when I was working at like warehouses and just like soul crushing jobs, and my embarrassing old Facebook posts like we all see where where I know some of them are pretty like oof baboof, like pretty cringe. But
Yeah.
most of mine were just like, I just want to make art for a living. Like, please let this happen. And, as of only really like just before the pandemic, has that been possible for me. So yeah, it's always like in my gut and in my heart, like that's what I know I can do. And that's what, other people are out there in the world making a living as artists. So it's possible. So I'm like, maybe it's possible for me.
I am so happy that you were able to accomplish that dream. What year were you able to say that you became like full-time artist making it off? Was it like 2020, 2021, like kind of around there?
Yeah, I wanna say it was, around, like, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, like, when the pandemic hit, because that's when, I kinda had, like, a couple big viral TikToks, and it just brought people to, like, my online shop to buy, art prints and stuff like that, and then,
Wow.
I only had the art TikTok. I mean, when I first started making TikTok, like everybody else, I was putting on like costumes and like fucking lip sync and stuff. You know what I mean? Like clips from the New Girl and stuff like that. Um, we all did. That was what it was for.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me to like, oh, I should show my artwork because I don't think I saw anybody else doing that very much. And then,
Uh,
yeah, it was all
yeah,
everybody was
nobody
like,
does it.
yeah. I mean, now there's a lot, and it's great. I follow so many
Mhm.
great artists, but at the time, it was just like everyone was creating like original characters and like we're gangsters, lip syncing these songs and stuff like that. Um, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll put some of my art on just to throw something up there, and a couple videos went like bonkers viral. And then yeah, all of a sudden, all these people like went to my online shop to buy prints, and I was just like, what is going on here? Like there was like one day when I did that series where I turned like old breakfast cereal mascots into like monster versions. And it was older art too. But I was just like, I'll just throw it up there. And in one day I had like 123 something orders for art prints, and I was just like, holy
Holy
guacamole,
cow.
like this is crazy. And it just kind of kept going from there somehow.
So do you credit a lot of that awareness, like even beyond, because you already had like thousands and thousands and thousands of people following you on different platforms. Do you credit a lot of that with TikTok then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once upon a time, the place to post was like Facebook pages, but now it's like a digital graveyard. I mean, I'll post. So I still have Facebook pages for my art and the Quiet Room Bears, but once upon a time, you post something and you get so much engagement, comments, likes, and all that stuff, and now it's like seen by 13 people. Uh, you know,
It did
so
fall a little bit.
certainly, yeah, because they wanted you to start paying to promote posts, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm a full-time artist. That means I have no money. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you post wherever you can, right? As a person who's trying to kind of make a name for yourself. So, I honestly really do credit TikTok for helping me become, like a full-time artist.
That's so awesome. I know I've looked at, a ton of your videos and then just seeing ones that pop off. I think is there one with like 22 million or something like that? It might be on Quiet Room Bears.
Yeah, on the Quiet
Um,
Room Bears,
oh
there's
my gosh.
one video that geez, it's slipping my brain. I think it's like there's a bear that I made that's, like horrible looking, like I try to make all of them. But it sings like happy birthday. I think
Yeah,
that's the
that's
one
it.
that's it's got
Yeah,
like
that's the one.
22 something million views. It's far and away my biggest video ever.
That is
It's
insanely cool.
it's super crazy. It's like my brain can't really comprehend that many people have seen it. I just you post videos and then you go about your day and you don't really think about how many people it's reaching and stuff until you're in a grocery store or a coffee shop and someone's like, "Are you that bear guy?"
Do people do that? Have you gotten recognized a lot?
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
really
cool.
it's pretty crazy and it's awesome and it feels weird because I feel like I don't know I'm like self-deprecating where I'm
Mm.
like I don't deserve anything. But yeah, it is weird. Like I just I had I've done a couple. Like I try and do smaller shows and stuff, and they're mostly obviously I'm in Canada, and it's hard for me to vend and bring my art to the States because it's complicated and it's beyond what my brain can understand.
Mm.
Like tax ID, vendor number, what I don't know what those
Oh,
words
crap.
mean. Yeah, it's banana. So I'll do stuff in Toronto area, Niagara Falls, and the last couple that I did, it's like people are like they'll recognize the art because I'll have like a backdrop of art behind me, and then they'll be like, "Oh, wait, the fast food monster guy, that's you? Oh my god!" And then it's like I've had some people like I'm really sorry, but can I have a picture? And I'm like, of course you can. Like, yeah,
Oh.
it's like I'm not. I, again, it's like that self-deprecating thing where I want to be like I'm nobody, but it's like to them they really like my art and it means something to them. So it's like so I only charge them like $150 a photo, which is totally. I'm just kidding. I don't charge anything, of course. Oh, thanks, Jim. Um, yeah, no, it's like I'll gladly take photos of people if that's what they want. It's just so bananas to me that anybody wants to take a photo with me because I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like that kid in grade school who didn't have any friends, you know?
Yeah, that's gotta be mind-blowing. That's why I can't wait for, when you come to Horror Hound. I wanna be like, "Have you seen him on TikTok? Have you seen him on TikTok? You know that guy. I want a picture with Lee." And I'll be like,
Yeah, we're gonna have to make so many videos while
"Oh,
I'm down there.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%, which, by the way, in case anybody has not seen his work, I have some here. I'm going to pop it up on the screen real quick. He has done variations of characters like he has this list of like on one side there's like a character or something and on the other side it's like the different variations that he could do. And so of course I had to pull up Freddy Krueger, and these are just the
My
different
boy.
types of Freddy Kruegers that he's done. And like it seems so hard to me not being an artist, but like wishing that I was, because I've contemplated like I would love to have an iPad and just be able to draw. And I know that I could make it happen with a lot of practice.
Mhm.
But I'm terribly, terribly scared. But like this is incredible. So like how do you figure out like what characteristics from whatever media that you are drawing Freddy based in, whether it be the Powerpuff Girls or Mario or, Hey Arnold or something like that, to be able to create that same feeling for that character? How do you figure that out?
I guess I'm just lucky that my brain kind of can do that. I'll because a lot of these, like this one in particular, I'm pointing at the wrong direction. This one in particular, that one. The one that you see in the middle of your screen, folks. Uh, a lot of those, like I'll do the individual drawings, and again, a lot of it I do for TikTok because I almost don't want to call myself like a content creator because it's like I feel like I'm an artist who posts online. It's almost like a weird obligation to like if you're a content creator, you have to like keep pumping out content, which I actually kind of feel like sometimes it's like this great weird pressure on me. Like, you know, I haven't posted for 3 days. Oh my God, the world will forget who I am, and I'll have to go get a regular job. But
Never.
well, oh God, I hope not. But yeah, when I'm doing series like that, I sometimes I'll put it out there and be like, I'm gonna do like Michael Myers in 10 different animation styles. Give me some suggestions, because also that you know, when you make a video with like a call to action and you ask people to comment, it kind of boosts your video and stuff too. Um, but yeah, sometimes I'll ask for suggestions, like who do you want to see in what styles. But sometimes I'll just kind of think of like, oh, this one would look good. Like the Tim Burton style always works pretty good, and the Batman, the animated series style, always works really good for horror guys. So yeah, I don't know. I'll Google like Scooby Doo characters and kind of look at them and be like, okay, that style will work, and then I can just kind of do it. But you know, it's the only thing I'm really good at. So
I guess it's kind of like musicians when they understand
Mm,
music and playing so well that they listen to a song and then they can just kind of pick it up
yeah,
just by listening to it. In the same way,
totally,
it's true
totally.
for artists. Uh, that's awesome. I love that talent. I love those. That's so creative that you do that. And I, of course, love your fast food monsters. Like this one, for example, is I love how you have the shadow in the background because you know who it is, but in the front, it's the monster variation. And they're just so cool and creepy and like full of like this depth to them that I just totally love.
Oh, thanks. I that series has been super fun, and there's really only like a handful left that I'm gonna do. Um because I want to move on to like mascot monsters after the fast food guys are done. So like the Kool-Aid guy, Chester Cheetah, the Michelin Man. There's gonna be so many opportunities for cool horror paintings. But it's like funny that you know, I look at that stuff, like I like making horror versions of, you know, characters you already know, you know,
Mhm.
for whatever reason. But I feel like I've always done it. Like I have a bunch of old drawings from when I was in like high school and stuff. Like I doodle in my notebook and stuff. But I used to, maybe this is why I had no friends. I used to like doodle like Simpsons characters, like all like torn apart and like you know, the Homer holding like the Hellraiser box, being like, with the, like the hooks tearing them apart. And I'm sure people were looking over my shoulder like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you have a teacher who was like, "Let me see that"? Oh my gosh, calling out people.
I mean, probably. You know what? Actually, it's funny that you said that, because I remember in like, I don't know, I want to say grade 6 or 7. I used to draw on my desk all the time. It was with pencil, obviously, but my whole desk was like Freddy, like drawings,
Oh,
like just the
cool.
whole. It was like a mural of Freddy drawings and stuff like that. And you know, they would always like come up and be like, "Can you erase this, please?" And I'm like, "Fine." And then during like a parent teacher meeting one year, you know, like that's always the scariest thing for a kid when your parent has to go talk to the teacher. Uh, my dad, my dad came home, and I was like, I thought I was gonna get in shit for like my grades or whatever, and he was like, "Just leave Freddie at home."
The
It's
line, he
like,
stayed there.
it's like me wearing like a Freddy Krueger shirt that I've worn for like 3 days in a row or whatever. It's like, I can't. Freddy is a part of me, Dad. It's not a phase.
I've got the body, he's got the brains.
Right? Yeah.
He's
I
on
am
my
all his
body.
children now.
Exactly, Dad. Dad, you don't get it.
Yeah.
So, what came first, your love of horror or being an artist? Or is it kind of like the same time? And you were like, "Oh, I'm getting
Um,
these skills. I like Freddy Krueger. I'm gonna draw."
I want to say, because I, you know, as a very little kid, I was scared of horror stuff. Like I still have a specific memory of, oh God, I must have been like 4 or something. Whenever the original Salem's Lot like TV movie was on, which was like end of the 70s, early 80s or something. I'm old. I remember coming down the stairs and there was like a scene that like scared the absolute bejesus out of me. And I was just scared of horror and stuff, but my older brother Bill really liked horror. And when I was like 10 or so, Bill and I were babysitting a nephew of ours, and my brother was like, "Hey, we're gonna watch this movie," and I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's Nightmare on Elm Street 2." And I'm like, "Is it gonna be too scary?" And he's like, "It's like 3 p.m. on a Sunday. You'll be fine." And we watched it, and it was like that switch flipped in me, and I was just like, "Bring me more," like that was my gateway horror movie.
Yeah.
So I think probably from like ages 10 and on, if I did do art, I'm sure there was like I drew other things. I drew like, Batman and comic book characters. And I used to like pause Disney movies and like draw the art because I really like the art and stuff from that. So it's
That's
like, it wasn't
cool.
like exclusively horror. I just really liked drawing anything. I'd make up my own comic book characters and stuff. But I mean, there was always horror in there.
That's so cool. So how did you end up coming up with the Quiet Room Bears? Like, obviously, any Nightmare fan will recognize Quiet Room. But how did
Yes.
you kind of figure this all out?
So this is the first bear that I
Oh,
made in 2001. So my brother, same brother, him and his wife were having a Halloween party, and it was a themed party, which was Rosemary's baby shower. And they had this little like demon baby in a crib, and they were gonna do this contest of whoever brought the best gift for the baby is gonna win a prize. And they didn't end up doing the contest, but I was like, at the time, I'm like, every baby needs a teddy bear. So the son of Satan needs a teddy bear that, if you saw it, you would throw up in your mouth. uh so I just went to like Goodwill and found a teddy bear, and I was just kind of like, oh, if it had like kind of like human teeth, that would be like, I just tried to think of something that would look very off-putting to look at, and like a baby's like face in its stomach. Like, why is that in there? So I brought it to the party, and people were just like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't want to look at that. And the reaction was so strong. I was like, I should make more of these. And I'm like, maybe I'll make them like different each time. And I made 2 more bears that were very simple. I didn't have the name Quiet Room Bears anything yet. And I probably sold them I know I sold them on eBay, probably like scary teddy bear for like $30. So there's 2
oh
bears out
gosh.
there that someone has that are the earliest Quiet Room Bears. Um, and then I think I didn't work on them for several years. I don't recall why, but at a certain point, I was like, I'm going to go back to making those bears. I feel like there's something there. And then I like being like a storyteller. I like telling stories and stuff. So I created the backstory behind what the bears are, where they came from, and then like that there's an old hospital, and the quiet room itself is a bad place and has influence over people in the hospital. And of course, being a huge Nightmare fan from Nightmare 3, where they could put in the quiet room, that's where I stole that. And as all the bears are individually numbered, they have all their numbers carved in their back. I didn't want to like name them like, this is Ralph the bear, because that's cheesy and stupid. And it's not scary. So to tie into like the backstory where
Mhm.
patients would get put into the quiet room for a session, and then each session would produce a new bear. So each bear is like session 1, session 2, session 3.
Mhm.
And I stole that from the movie Session 9, which I super love and is totally underrated. um and I made a bear for the director Brad Anderson, and gave it to him.
Well,
I
that's
wrote him
so
on
cool.
Facebook, and I never heard back from him. He was probably like, Jesus Christ, block. I don't know, but I
That
just
would
think,
be so hurtful. You make a
I
movie
just
like Session 9 and
yeah, I know,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah, like, this is too much. Um,
Excuse me, sir.
so right, yeah, so I started making the bears a little bit more here and there. I wouldn't make a lot of them. Like, I certainly didn't think 20 years later I'd still be making them. Like, I've made 900 or so at this point. It's
Jeez.
insane. So yeah, I just started making more and more. And then of course, back to name drop Mark Patton, where we were talking on Facebook, and he was like, hey, I'm doing a convention outside Boston. bring those bears, sit at my table with me. And I'd never brought the bears to a horror convention before. I'd only brought them to like local art shows where people were like to the right of me selling lemon squares and to the left of me selling like knitted caps. So it was like, that's where I learned that you really need the right audience for your art. Uh, so yeah, I brought them to that convention and sat with Mark, which was like mind blowing to me that like the dude that I watched 1,000 times over in this movie is like, be my friend, essentially. And it's just like, how is this possible? Like, dreams come true, kids. So yeah, I just and they started like over time, kind of like gaining in popularity, and yeah, here we are all these years later.
They are really amazing. And I never know what you're gonna do with them. Like when I first opened this one, which I love, 667. I mean, it's got no eyes, but it does have an eyeball right here. The fingers are what always throw me off. They're always some of the creepiest parts of these things because I'm like, it doesn't even have hands, it just has human fingers. I mean, I love it. And the teeth. Like
Yes.
the videos that you've posted of how you make these mouths on these bears is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I
It's
do a lot
pretty
of
incredible.
sculpting with stuff and then repainting of other things to I just try and think of like what would look vaguely uncomfortable to look at and then make it.
Yeah, he and I often are like go back and forth, and I'm just like, you know, because they are just so good. I mean, not I love exactly trio. Everybody needs a little creepy pal. You
I agree.
know, keep the nightmares. Nightmares will not fudge with you if you have one of these. They'll be like, not going to that bed. Not happening. So like when you make these, do you start with an inspiration or are you just like, yes, this is what I want for this one? Or is there like a kind of a single source thing? Like, what if I put an eyeball in its stomach and then where do I go from there?
Yeah, when I first started making them, I would do like sketches of like what maybe the next one would look like, but it's like I am so on autopilot now that it's like I'll literally just like pick up a bear, like a regular bear, and then just be like, okay, this one needs no eyes. I have to remove their arms. It needs spider legs for legs. It needs human teeth in the top of its head, and I have to sew a bunch of skin onto it. Like I just like know right away what I need to do with it.
Not a
Although
big
it's like,
deal.
sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like, not a big deal. You
Oh
need
yeah, no,
spider
not a big deal. Yeah, like normal Tuesday. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's definitely getting more challenging to
Mm.
come up with new ideas and stuff and try and level them up because I mean, I've been doing this for so long and there's so many people out there now making like scary teddy bears. Like so many. And for a long
So
time I
many
would see
people.
ones that are just more like zombie-ish or bloody or whatever, but there's a lot now that I see that I'm like, that's a Quiet Room Bear ripoff or whatever. And a part of me is like, hey, cool, I'm inspiring people to make art, and that's awesome. I shouldn't be mad at that. But the part of me that's like trying to pay my bills and stuff is like, like Walter White, like, stay out of my territory.
Yeah, I have seen a lot more bears over the years, and I've always held that your bears have been my favorite because I have seen some and they have been the zombies and but like they're just such soft bears, but like the goriness, the sewing, of course, the fingers. I mean, just everything about it looks so gruesome and realistic, which is such a weird thing to say, but it's so normal for us.
Yes.
That I have found them to be just the best. I love your bears the best. And maybe it is for personal reasons too, being tied to knowing you for so long, but I've always loved your bears and I love the idea of the sessions and that kind of brings me to the movie.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
for those of you who don't know, Lee made a short that he wrote and directed called
Hmm.
Quiet Room Bears. It is available on Amazon if you would like to rent or buy it. Don't
Yep.
worry, it will not break the bank, but it is definitely worth checking out. Um, Does Simon, this is the main character,
Yep.
is he like a representation of you in a way? Like, is this kind of the backstory of the Quiet Room Bears? Like, this is what happens to everybody. They all kind of have this encounter and they create a bear and et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah, I wanted the short to be um like I wanted to answer some stories in the larger world of the Quiet Room Bears, but also have a lot of unanswered questions. Like in case on the chance that I make, more shorts or a feature one day, that remains to be seen. But yeah, I wanted it to be a little bit like this is what happens to people when they get a quiet room bear in their life, whether, because in the short film, the dude just happens to find what looks like at the time a normal teddy bear outside of his cottage before he's like, doing renovations for the weekend before his wife and kid come up. And it's like overnight drives him like absolutely insane. And then, part of the backstory of the quiet room bears and stuff is that when people do get a bear, it drives them crazy. They find another regular teddy bear and then they end up like hacking, like pulling their teeth out and hacking their ears off and their fingers off and pouring their like blood and their madness into this new bear that at some point somebody else will find and the cycle will continue. It's like a pyramid scheme of evil. Yeah, so I wanted, like if I do another story, the next story might be where it took like 30 years to drive somebody to the brink, so it's like
Ooh.
it's different for every person. It could be overnight, it could be 2 weeks, 5 months, 30 years before the quiet, like I feel like there's never going to be a happy ending in any of the Quiet Room Bear tales. But yeah, it was great to be able to, it was the first time I have directed anything, and I'd thought about co-directing with somebody who had more experience, but I'm like, I know what I want it to look like. I know what I want it to be. I wrote it, and I'm in it in a small part where there's like this character I just call the inmate, who is this creepy looking. Oh, here's the face. It has like a mask that it wears, like with two human jawbones, and there's a face on the back. And it's just like it in my mind, it's like those people that actually survive making a quiet room bear, because most people will die because you're cutting yourself to pieces.
Yes.
If you happen to survive, you go so far beyond insanity that it's like you're working for the room itself, either dropping bears off randomly to people or picking them up or hurting people maybe to like, or bringing them places and stuff. So I played that part in the movie. I put myself on stilts because I thought it would look really creepy. I'd never been on stilts. Dumbest decision ever.
It is one of it gave me like It Follows vibes when there was that tall guy with like no eyes and he showed up behind everybody. I was like,
Nice. That's high
please keep
praise.
it away.
Yeah.
Super, super creepy. I loved the short. And for anybody wondering, to make sure that you're watching the right one, here's a poster. It's great. I highly recommend that you watch it. It's very creepy. The moment when the main guy Simon is making the bear is very hard to watch.
Yeah.
I confession, I have a hard time with gore. And so I was like, oh god, because
Yeah.
it looks very intense, but it
I
is
had
great.
someone
And if you're a gore hound,
I had someone walk out of a screening, which I thought was great. And I had people and it's funny because it's like the violence and gross stuff is about to happen, then it kind of cuts away. And then it's like it goes back, and it's like he's about to cut his fingers off, and then it cuts away. And Nick Smith, who's a buddy of mine who played Simon, is a great actor. He's been in like For the Sake of Vicious, Motherly. Those are movies that are out now. He was in that new Eli Roth show. He was in an episode of that, the Urban Legends one. He just knocked it out of the park. He totally killed it. So
he did such a good job.
yeah.
But you also did Blueberry Coffee with
Yes.
Deadly Grounds. How did
Yes.
that come about?
So Deadly Grounds is a coffee company here in Canada, although they have them in the States as well. But it's, run by different people. So my friend Brad, he owns Deadly Grounds in Canada. I've known him forever. Um, the best coffee. And we've been talking about a collaboration for a long time. They have obviously just coffee flavored coffee. They have one called Never Sleep Again, which the Never Sleep Again coffee, fantastic. But they have all these different flavors of coffee, just like like, oh my God, just like toasted marshmallow, chocolate raspberry, just there's so many that I can't even think. Like they just launched a red velvet one. Um, so we were talking about like collaborating, and we're trying to think of a flavor that you wouldn't think would work as a coffee, just like the bears. The bear, you take like innocent, nice teddy bears and absolute gore and make them exist together. So I wanted the coffee to reflect that. So we were like, hey, what about like a blueberry? Like you wouldn't think a blueberry coffee would work. And then I was also like, Quiet Room Blueberry. Like if like I'm gonna corner the market on any berry
Dad
flavored
jokes.
coffees. We're working on a strawberry coffee right now, like a strawberry cream coffee.
For Quiet
Yeah.
Room?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So we
Oh,
started like testing
yum.
some flavors, and we're like pretty close to like finding just the right one. It was really good. The testers I had, really good.
Holy
So yeah,
cow.
so we collaborated. I made the label, the artwork with my brother and his wife. They're graphic designers. Small Dog Design. Shout out to them. They do a lot of movie posters too. They helped design the label. And yeah, so last summer we launched the Quiet Room Blueberry flavor.
It is so good. I'm gonna bring this back up for everybody so you can go and check that out. There is a code. I
Yes.
have a Spooky Sips episode on it. I really enjoy the coffee. He is indeed right. It is very good. I cannot wait to try the strawberry and
Mm.
cream version. That is so
I'll send you
interesting.
when we make it. I'll send you one.
Oh, thanks, Lee. Gosh, I love
See?
coffee so much. It
Same.
all started with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I was
That
like,
makes
she drinks a
absolute
lot of
sense.
coffee, and now I gotta.
Yeah, totally.
but so I have some lightning round questions for you.
Yes.
Just kind of quick hitters, whatever comes to mind, right away, gut reaction. If
Okay.
you want to give a little bit of reasoning behind anyone in particular, feel free to blab on. It's
Okay.
totally fine. You've given your answer. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Favorite subgenre of horror? Slasher, psychological, etc.
I think I'm gonna go. The first thing that comes to mind is psychological. Like I
Perfect.
love like Midsummer, Hereditary, Session 9. I mean, I love slasher stuff. Love, love, love slasher. Obviously, Freddy's my guy. But there's something for me, like The Shining, even, where movies that like get under your skin and stay there for days that you can't stop thinking about them. That I connect to.
Totally. Okay. Who won in Freddy versus Jason?
Freddy, hands down. He gave the little wink. Also, okay. How many movies have we seen where they pull Freddy into the real world and they kill him? Obviously, he's not dead. That body might die, but he lives in dreams, people. Easy,
He's
Freddy.
forever.
Yeah, he's forever.
Perfect. Well, we obviously know the answer, but just in case somebody missed it, your favorite nightmare movie is?
Oh, God. That's actually a really hard one.
Oh.
Well, because
Okay.
I love the original so much. But I have that special place of 2 in my mind or in my heart, you know what I mean? Because it was my gateway
Mhm.
one. But it's
Yeah.
like 3 is like pretty perfect, you know?
Mm.
It's so hard. I have such and New Nightmare. I mean, that's almost on a different, I love New Nightmare. I love it because it was so ahead of its time and still I think underappreciated. Um it's really hard. I like to kind of group like 1, 2, and 3 together. because they're kind of like
All right.
a perfect trilogy for me. And then
We'll have a menage a trois.
and yes, yeah, exactly. And then like let's make it a sexy foursome and put New
Ooh.
Nightmare on top.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's perfect. I love that answer. All right. What is your favorite non nightmare horror movie?
The Exorcist.
Ooh.
I love The
Uh,
Exorcist.
what are your top three? Who are your top three favorite horror movie characters?
Oh, characters. Like slashers or just
Could be anybody. Could
it's so
be, you
hard.
know, Mima in the background.
I love me.
She is a fan favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. When are they gonna bring out the Mima action figure?
I
We've all
know,
been waiting.
Mima.
Yeah. It's so oh my god, that's such a hard question too. If you go slashers, it's like Freddy, obviously, Michael Myers, obviously. I love the Halloween movies. If you're looking at like non-slashers, obviously Nancy's like you come on, best final girl. I love me some Laurie Strode. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but I mean, you look at the original, she's just trying to survive. She's fighting back, but she's like, hiding in the closet. Whereas Nancy's like, oh, you're coming for me? How about I get a book with booby traps and go fuck yourself and I'm going to fuck you up? Well, you know what I mean?
Amen.
She goes on the attack. So it's like, you got to love Nancy for that. Um, Norman Bates. I love Norman Bates because you feel really bad for him, but he's also a murderer. Uh, he's so
This
sympathetic.
is true.
It's not his fault. He's sick. But God, there's just so many. Oh, Sydney. Look at this. Sydney Prescott. Of course, Sydney. Should have been
What
a
is your favorite? What is your favorite song right now? What are you listening to kind of on repeat?
Oh, damn. Shit. I'm literally trying to think. It's like my brain goes to my like, what if I put on my like workout playlist? I put a song from Halloween Kills on my workout playlist because I really like the
Ooh.
music in that. I love Alice Cooper. I always listen to Alice Cooper. I love Coop. Um, oh my god, I love Muse, the band Muse, a lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
love Muse. Oh my god, you want to know what's great? This, I don't know. A lot of people don't know about this band. Do you know who Dead Man's Bones is?
They just came across this playlist on Spotify, but I do not know much about them.
Okay, Dead
But
Man's
I would like to know
Bones.
more.
It's Ryan Gosling.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I heard that on TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ryan
I
Gosling's
have
creepy
like
band.
yeah, it's amazing. It's like dark and weird, and there's like a kids like choir in the back, but it's like oh my god, it is why I have it on LP. It's I love Dead Man's Bones, the best. Go check them out, everybody. You will not be disappointed.
Holy
Also,
crap.
fellow Canadian.
What is your favorite holiday?
It's a tie. Honestly,
Mm.
I love Halloween. We're just starting to get Halloween stuff in the stores now, and I'm like so excited. But I also love Christmas so much. I love Christmas.
Me too.
Right? I just like I get really excited at Christmas. I listen to like as soon as November 1st hits, it's like Christmas music up until
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. It's like honestly like on October 31st every year, we always watch Trick or Treat, not the 80s metal one, although I love that one too. But the Sam Trick or Treat.
Mhm.
And then we watch Krampus after
Oh,
that
good
because
transition. Nice transition.
it's a perfect bridge. And
Uh-huh.
then on the morning of November 1st, we always watch Elf.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
My family and I, that's like the first Christmas movie we watch of the year is Elf every
Nice.
year. I
Nice.
love that. That's
Yeah.
lovely. What a great tradition. Are you a summer or winter person?
You know what? Ugh, it sucks because those are like the extremes. And now you're living in like a super extreme heat. Um, if I had to choose between, because honestly, I'm more of a fall guy. But if I had to choose between summer and winter, I'm gonna go summer because I don't have to shovel anything.
Oh, that is such a truth
Yeah.
right there. Morning or evening? Morning or
Evening for
evening?
sure. Waking up is so hard. Thank God I have Deadly Grounds coffee to help me wake up every morning.
The best part of waking up.
Yeah. There's Deadly Grounds in my
Yeah.
face.
Ouch. I'm awake. All right. Now we're getting into a little bit longer questions.
Sure.
If if you could do anything right now and money wouldn't be an issue, someone was like, I'll pay for it all. I don't care if it costs billions. What would you do or where would you go?
Hmm. Well, where would I go? I mean, I gotta visit 1428 one day. I know I would cry. I know it flat out. And it's like in Fred Head's fantastic documentary. I'm Jeff Goldbluming all of a sudden. Fantastic. Gosh, wonderful documentary. Gosh, everybody check it out. You cried as well, and I know I would. I know I would if I saw it. Also still can't get over that Bo Burnham lived there, but that's a whole other thing.
I know that's weird.
It's freaking crazy. If I could do anything and money wasn't an issue, it's funny because I just immediately think of like projects that I would want to accomplish. Like, I swear for 25 years I've had a story in my mind that I want to illustrate called Johnny Longfingers. That some people
Ooh.
might know, and it's like a kind of a kid's story, but kind of like, imagine like somewhere in between the neighborhoods of Harry Potter and Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a creepy kid story. And I want it to be a stop motion creepy kids movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have the whole story mapped out. I just haven't figured out how to illustrate it yet. Like, should it be a storybook? Should it be like a graphic novel? Like, I just can't get my mind around that. But it's like in my heart, I feel like it's something that when it's made is going to be very big.
That's awesome. And I love that you have that feeling. That's such a good feeling to have.
Yeah,
I cannot wait for when that comes out. I will
yeah.
totally check that out. If you could spend one day in any fictional universe, movie, TV, or book, what would it be and why?
Oh my God. I'm trying to think of like the nicest place, but it's like immediately I'm like, do I want to go to like Greendale Community College from Community because I love that show? But I mean that would be kind of boring. Like, do I want to visit the Dunder Mifflin offices? That's just an office. That's boring. Oh my Lord. Where would you go? Can I ask you that? What would you do?
I feel like I might spend a day in Almost Famous. I
Oh,
love like
oh,
those
that's good.
retro band vibes. And I wouldn't
Yeah,
be in danger because honestly, I would love to be in like Nightmare 4 or something.
right.
If I could just like scoot by and not get killed. I mean, technically, if it's a day and I don't fall asleep and then I fall asleep and that's the end of my day, then maybe I'd be okay. But it would be kind
Yeah,
of fun to be in Springwood. But yeah, that
yeah.
would be my answer. It would be
As
Almost
long as you had
Famous.
some Deadly Grounds coffee to keep you awake.
The best part of wake.
You know what? Maybe if I could be in any movie for a day, I would want to travel around with Bill and Ted.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
I love Bill and Ted. Yeah, that's. I mean, and then I mean, I know it's a character, but you get to hang out with Keanu Reeves. So what's better,
Yeah. And you get to be excellent to each other. Like,
right?
what a
That's
great premise.
such a good message in those movies.
I totally agree. All right,
Mhm.
this one's a little personal. If you could relive one day over again, which day would it be?
Hmm. Great question. Uh, you know, Oh boy, that's a good one. It's like, do you go sentimental? Like, like, hey, if I could relive the day where like I proposed to Jordan, my fiance, that would be great because that was a really wonderful day. Um,
Oh,
do I want to, I have a memory of, try not to get emotional here. Cause
well,
like 9 years ago, my mom passed away and my mom was really awesome and a really nice person. Uh, and it was it always in December, my Facebook memories always remind me that I because she was married to this not great person for a long time, and then for the last like 2 years of her life, she kind of got her life back and got her like confidence back, and it was just so awesome to see. And she was like, in her 70s and stuff. I was her seventh kid, so my parents were very old. Uh, but we planned a day where I would just like bring like Kentucky Fried Chicken over, and we were gonna like sit there and watch one of the Christmas Carol movies together. And I love A Christmas Carol. And it was just like such a nice thing to like watch a nice movie and have like a crappy meal and sit with my mom. So maybe I would want to do that.
I love those choices. I'm so sorry about that, Lee.
Oh,
Sorry to get sentiment. I'm sorry to make you like get all
no, that's
teary-eyed or
okay.
anything like
Hey,
that.
if I can talk about my mom and stuff, it's a good, it's like, it's obviously sad that she passed and stuff. She never got to meet Jordan or anything like that. And then I know they would have got along great, but it's like, it's been long enough where it's like, I can like think back and be like, oh, I have just nice memories. Or, I have one more really quick one. When I found, the day that I found my cat, Bruce Wayne.
Is that the Bruce Wayne?
That is the
There
Bruce
he
Wayne.
is.
Yeah. He's 10 now. So when I found him, he was 4 weeks old in an alley. That'd be a pretty good one too. Yeah.
Oh, all great choices. What would your last meal be?
Oh, I've thought about that in case I murder someone and go to, I was gonna say Skid Row, death row. Maybe they kill people in Skid Row now. That's a great question. It's like, do I go surf and turf because I like steak and I like lobster, or do I just want to get like an absolute shit ton of Taco Bell? Because I love me some Taco Bell. Taco Bell was my first job when I was 15 years old. I worked there for almost 5 years. I ate so much Taco Bell that I'm pretty sure, I'm no scientist, but I'm pretty sure it fused to my DNA. So every once in a while, I need to eat Taco Bell to survive, in the way that Superman needs the yellow sun of Earth to keep him strong. Same, I need like a Mexi Melt or like a bean burrito. It would be one of those. It would be an extreme. Steak and lobster fancy, a bunch of Taco Bell.
So if it was Taco Bell, what would the order consist of? You said
the Doritos
burrito?
Locos. Yeah, Doritos Locos Taco, which is really good. Like the double decker taco is good. The Mexican pizza, which they brought back for a limited time, is great. The Mexi Melt, which they don't make anymore, unfortunately. But I'm like, I'm about to get killed. Just make a goddamn Mexi Melt for me. One of everything. It's my last meal. I'm packing it in.
I love that. Jason and I have like once a month we will go crazy on Taco Bell. That's like our favorite place is Taco Bell.
I love it.
And then I've got two more questions. Second to last one is, what is your ultimate dream in life?
Oh boy. To destroy my enemies. One, that's a joke. I'm just kidding.
And then all the children of the world will dance.
Yes. Classic. Oh, SNL. Steve Martin. My ultimate dream, I honestly think like that Johnny Longfingers story that's been living in my head for 2 decades, to like get to sit in a theater and watch like a stop animation style, even if they have to CG it, but as long as it looks like stop animation, kind of like Paranorman, which I love. To like watch that come to life, I think would be a huge bucket list like goal. So I got to make it happen.
That would be so cool, sitting there. Maybe you've had like a red carpet event. Everybody's seated. It's starting. You've got the people who are in the movie there, friends. Hopefully I'm invited.
Of course you're invited.
Everybody's sitting there. Oh my gosh. Sitting there to watch that movie that you've dreamed of. That would be an amazing feeling.
That'd be great.
I'm sure you could picture that in your head, over and over again, like that moment right before it starts, or
absolutely
sitting there with everybody.
Yeah, I would.
That's
love
awesome. That. And the final question I have is, what advice do you have for emerging artists who feel inspired by you?
Honestly, just like don't stop making art. There's this amazing, Neil Gaiman, the
Mhm.
author Neil Gaiman. There he gave a commencement speech at an art college years ago, and I used to watch his speech daily when I was in like a very rough place in my life. Um, and it was like I cried the first time I saw it, and it's and I wrote on his Facebook page one time like this speech like literally saved my life, and he just wrote back so glad, which like made me feel great. But in it he talks about like just like make good art, make it on the good days, make it on the bad days as well, like you know uh if anything bad happens in your life, make art out of that. Like boa constrictor eats your leg, make art. Your wife leaves you, make some art. Like just never stop making art, because the more you do, the better you get. And make the art that you love to make. I remember one time somebody was like, "Why don't you just do paintings of like landscapes and stuff?" And it's like that's like asking Stephen King to write a cookbook. Like he writes what he loves. And like I draw and paint what I love, which sure it's like weird stuff, but it's like it's what I'm most passionate about. And I feel like whatever you're most passionate about in any kind of art, whether it's writing or music or painting or anything, just whatever you love most, pour your creativity into that. And I honestly feel like it's not going to be an overnight thing. I mean, I'm 47 years old, and I've only been able to make art full time the last couple of years, but like god damn, has it been like worth going through all this stuff uh to be able to do it now. Obviously it would have been great if I have been doing this already for 20 years, but things happen when they happen. Yeah, just I don't know, just never stop making art. The more you do, the better you get, and make the art you love.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, that's all I have for you, Lee. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we
um
let you enjoy your evening?
Nothing off the top of my head. Feel free to follow me on all my social things. I have a Patreon if people like want to support me as an artist. You can there's different levels that you can join at, where you just give $1 a month if you want, or you can do like $20 a month, where you'll get like an art print every month, or there's higher levels where you can get like a sketch of whatever you want every month and stuff. And just and if you can't even buy artwork, which I get because money's tight right now because it's like $900 to buy a loaf of bread, um just share art. That helps artists too, not just me. Yeah, follow my art if you like it. I appreciate it. Check out the Quiet Room Bears short film and let me know what you think if you see it.
Definitely, guys. Check out the coffee, check out the short films. I will link all of Lee's Patreon, TikToks, Etsy, whatever, everything in the comments, so or in the description, so that you can easily click that, follow along, support him. Also, he makes really hilarious, great shirts. This one is called John Carpenter's Thanksgiving, the night he came home for dinner. And it is one of my favorite shirts. When he first posted, I laughed so hard. I was like, I have absolutely got to have that shirt.
I've done one
I'm
for
so
every
glad that I
holiday
do.
now. Like I have John Carpenter's Christmas, the night he came ho ho home. Uh, and there's like a John Carpenter's Valentine's, and yeah, there's one for every holiday.
John Carpenter, man, he's so versatile. I love that
Absolutely,
about him.
it's every holiday. John Carpenter's Flag Day.
Harbor Day.
Yeah.
Anywho, thanks for being on, Lee. And I really, really appreciate your time. I loved your answers. Thanks for being honest. Thanks for being heartfelt. Thanks for being a good friend. And I
Aw.
will see you next month.
Oh my god, I'm so excited! I can't wait to see you and Jason and just everybody there. I'm excited for friend time.
Lee will be at Horror Hound in Indianapolis, walking around. You'll definitely see him and recognize him. And if you do, don't be afraid to take a picture.
Yeah, I might even bring a bear with me just so people can like, yeah, I'll put it in like a backpack,
Ah,
and yeah, maybe so people can see and take photos and stuff if they want. I don't know. We'll see.
That's a great idea. I will definitely
Yeah.
get a pick like that.
Mhm.
Anywho, have a good night, Lee. Oh no!
Oh,
Don't
he
do
went to
that.
sleep too.
He's tired. He's had a long day. Thank you,
Thank
Lee.
you.
Have a great night.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.